times we live in are, very challenging. In previous times, in the Piscean Age, that 2,000-year cycle of Piscean Age, when we wanted to make that connection with soul, then the way that traditionally that was done in those times was to retreat from the world, the life of the recluse, to go into the nunneries, the monasteries, to leave the world. But in the Aquarian Age, the 2,000-year cycle that we're in now, our job is to be able to, this is a mercantile age, this is the age of spiritual business, this is the age of the householder, this is the age where we have to juggle all of the things of the world, the mundane things of the world, power bills, vehicles, complications everywhere. So the point being, to reconnect with soul is a different ball game now. Very, very different ball game. So hence, this mystery school, which has always existed, is now very visible. And yes, you come into the space like an oasis, drink from the well of wisdom, drink from the teachings, and then you must go back out into the age of the householder. But the objective here is that you are empowered and going back out with tools, information that equips you to have more than a fighting chance of staying connected with soul, to actually achieve what your soul wants to do, which is to fulfill its dream and be all that you can be. So easy to lose sight of the soul's dream. Once again, more complicated in these times. There is so much vying for our to live the dream. The term live the dream. I'll talk about living the dream. Living the dream is usually associated with physical things, isn't it? Get this car and you can live the dream. Buy this toilet paper and you can live the dream. Buy this toothpaste and you can live the dream. But if we come back to actually what is the dream, the soul's dream. The moment that we seek to relate, strengthen our relationship with soul, we are moving our frequency up from the lower three chakras. Now, all chakras have their validity and their role, but mass consciousness tends to operate primarily from the three lower chakras. But the moment we're working with soul, we're actually taking it up beyond the heart chakra to the etheric heart. And so your vibration is automatically going to increase. Not just because you're doing soul-based things like, I don't know, having a rose petal bath or, other wonderful things you can do to make you feel good and make you feel, it's feed my soul, but much, much more than that, because this is more than, reconnecting with our soul is more than just a feel-good factor. So we look at living the dream, that term, living the dream. So yeah, people talk about living the dream, but my definition of living the dream is to live in alignment, attunement, accord, at one-ment with your soul's dream. So every soul carries within it a sacred dream, what I call the soul's dream. And this is the pure, original impulse of the soul, seeded before incarnation, that holds the key to your true purpose on earth. And each lifetime you are moving into growing into that expression. So your soul's dream is not just a product of your mind. Okay, it's nothing to do with your mind and your thinking process. It's not something the personality, the lower self, can invent. Okay, if we look at the Russian dolls, it's not something that this personality with its thinking mind and its emotions and its physical body can invent, imagine, or chase after through desire. Because that's what our personality self is. It's acting out from those places. So the personality self, which is the temporary vehicle consisting of the physical body, emotional body, and mental body, has its own wants and fears and ambitions. But the personality cannot reveal the soul's dream because it does not know the higher plan. So many people spend their entire lives chasing goals, dreams, achievements, or possessions that arise from the desires of the personality. They pursue career, success, material wealth, romantic relationship, even spiritual experiences, believing that these things will bring lasting fulfillment. And some reach the goals they set only to discover that they feel empty inside because what they've achieved is not the true calling of their soul. It's not their soul's dream. And you'll often see evidence of that sort of around the sort of what's called the midlife crisis, or that period where somebody's, followed their dream. I just want a family. I just want children. I just want this. I just want that. And at that point, kind of realizing, oh my God, this isn't what I want. And that's because that pursuit has been driven by the personality. So our soul has a dream for each lifetime, and the soul dream is always part of a greater plan, a divine orchestration that serves not just the individual, but the whole of humanity and the earth. So personality dream is usually kind of focused on self, but the soul's dream is always going to be part of a greater plan and is not just serving the individual, but the whole of humanity and the earth. So the soul's dream is revealed, okay? It's not created. Not creating that dream, it's revealed. And Neptune, as the keeper of the dream, is that aspect of our psyche that reveals it to us. So the soul's dream arises when we connect with the dreamer within, the part of us that holds the memory of who we truly are and why we are here. So let's dig a little deeper into the planet Neptune as the keeper, the upholder, the keeper of the soul's dream, the upholder of the soul's dream, and the custodian of the soul's dream. So before incarnation, our soul chooses a dream. And this dream is a soul contract, a divine blueprint, a vision of what the soul seeks to experience, express, heal, how it wants to serve, what it wants to become, how it wants to contribute to the greater whole, its part in the oneness, its contribution. So Neptune, the planetary keeper and upholder and custodian of this dream. So Neptune governs the oceanic realms of memory, collective memory, and the unified field of divine consciousness. So it's through developing a conscious relationship with Neptune that we can gain glimpses of what our soul came here to do. So just to be clear, the planet Neptune is associated with helping us determine what our soul's dream is before we came into incarnation, and its role in helping us stay connected with our soul's dream in this lifetime. So while Neptune is a planetary body in the sky that is part of our solar system, as I said, it's an aspect of our psyche that we need to be in touch with, to have a positive relationship with, if we wish to be a well-rounded, spiritually aware and conscious being. So everything is about relationship. If we do not have a positive conscious relationship with Neptune and consciously incorporated and integrated into our life, the chances are that at the very best, the positive power of Neptune will not be accessible to us. It'll be a place that we haven't discovered within ourselves, a room, like a room in a house that we have never been in. So if that's the case, if we don't have a positive relationship with Neptune, then we will encounter Neptune expressing in a negative aspect, a negative way in our life, or a negative aspect in our psyche. So Neptune demands that we come into relationship with it, and will certainly come knocking on our door and make its presence felt in a number of ways, including through astrological transits. So it's, it behooves us to consciously want to be in relationship with this aspect of ourself that is the upholder, keeper of our dream. So I just want an image to come up on the screen, please. I'll have the trident of Neptune. So first of all, we'll look at the symbol of Neptune. Can you just bring up the symbol of Neptune, please? So we can see the symbol of Neptune here. It's a distinctive symbol. It holds a wealth of information in it. So that's the astrological symbol for the planet Neptune. Now, let's just bring up the trident of Neptune. So if we look at the god Poseidon, god of the sea, the ocean of information, of memory, the collective unconscious of everything, then we see this symbol of Neptune is a trident. Now, if you look at that trident, you'll see that all the prongs aren't even, are they? Now, one prong is decidedly higher than the other two. So the two on either side are supporting the central prong. Now, if we look at what that means, the symbol of Neptune, the trident, clearly shows us the need to be in alignment with this aspect of ourselves and its importance in being a keeper of the sacred waters of the collective unconscious. Because this aspect of our psyche is where memories of the soul, it's the information that's held in the sacred waters where the soul's dream lies. So that higher point of the trident, if we look at the three transpersonal planets, the higher point of the trident represents Neptune, flanked by Pluto and Uranus, which are the other transpersonal planets. So in other words, when it comes to the soul's dream, Neptune reigns supreme. Pluto, which is will, divine will and power, and the action to make things happen, can't do anything until we know what the dream is. And Uranus, which represents the ability to make intelligent changes or transformation, can't do anything until it knows what the dream is. So we can see that in this relationship of the three transpersonal planets, that Neptune is the primary point of focus for the soul stream, not Pluto, not Uranus. So we can push and shove all we like with Pluto Mars energy, or we can think and try and work it out and transform all we like, but it's actually the symbol of Neptune's trident reminds us that in order to awaken and live the soul's dream, we must first know what the dream is and come into relationship with the aspect of ourself that holds the dream, not the aspect of ourself that's Pluto going to push and shove, not the aspect of ourself Uranus that's going to try and figure it all out. Okay, they're kind of in the wings waiting for what is the dream. And then those two aspects of our psyche, Uranus and Pluto, can help us can make it happen and intelligently participate. But first of all, we must pay homage to Neptune because it's the head honcho in this triangle of power that exists within us. Okay, do you understand that? So coming into relationship with Neptune as a supreme ally. So Neptune can and does communicate to us our soul's dream in many ways. It will do that in pieces. if we bring up the image of Poseidon, please. So we can see here the god Poseidon, and they're associated with Neptune, the planet Neptune, obviously. We can see the god Poseidon rising up out of the ocean of collective memory, the ocean associated with the 12th house in astrology, where all the information exists, the well of wisdom that exists. Neptune is the guardian of that, and will bring things up to us, but only when we create a space for that to happen. And we're consciously requesting that. We're consciously seeking that. So very, very evocative image of the guardian of the ocean of information that is that exists. But in this case, we're particularly referring to Neptune and the soul stream. So Neptune can and does communicate our soul stream to us in many ways. It gives us pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. Things can come up from the waters, you might say, and come up into our consciousness, give us fragments. Neptune, it is very much associated with the skilled tracker within us who is looking for the pieces, who is lost and wanting to go home. You know, that part of us that many people on the spiritual path just think, oh, I just want to go home, and they sort of want to beam me up, Scotty. They want to go home, back to the home in the stars. But actually, what that is indicative of and symbolic of is Neptune is the tracker within us who is finding its way back to its dream. That's home. Unless we have a really strong and healthy, positive relationship with Neptune, the messages from Neptune can be hard to hear, interpret, or understand in waking consciousness. So we might receive these messages through symbols, dreams, music, vision, spiritual longing, or deep inner knowing. But for a lot of people, you know, doubt can creep in, confusion. So sometimes people don't do anything. They don't respond. They don't follow the subtle promptings and messages from Neptune that's prompting us to get on track with our soul stream.